Good morning. My name is Josh Markey. I'm the Clatsop County District Attorney. Behind me here is Captain Andrew Marilla. He's the commander of the Oregon State Police office here for the Astoria region. Captain Jeff Hirschman of the Oregon State Police. Sheriff Tom Bergen. Chief Daniels is the chief of the Seaside Fire Department, and Chief David Ham, who is the chief of the Seaside Police Department. One of the reasons that you see so many state troopers is the state police are the case agents, and what I will explain is the major crime team protocol. But the sad reason we're here today is last night, 39-year-old Jason Gooding, a sergeant in the Seaside Police Department and a respected and beloved member of this community's this county's law enforcement agency, was shot to death in the line of duty while doing his job at downtown Seaside. He was on duty in uniform when he and another officer stopped a man we've since identified as Philip Ferry, age 55. They knew that he had a warrant out for him, a warrant for felony assault. They attempted, it was not a search warrant, I think has been misreported, but they attempted to place him under arrest. He wouldn't show his hands. The other officer, who's not being identified at this time, not injured, attempted to use what we refer to as less lethal force, meaning one of them was a taser. Although that seemed to incapacitate Mr. Ferry, it didn't do much more. He went down on the ground. Sergeant Gooding attempted to subdue him, and when that happened, Mr. Ferry produced a weapon and fired once. And then the other officer returned fire 3 times, striking Mr. Ferry several places. Shortly after that, this happened at about 9:20. The dispatch logs make it pretty clear what happened when. It was clear that Sergeant Gooding was gravely injured. They attempted to provide CPR at the scene. One of the questions people always ask is, well, if he'd been outside of the Emmanuel Care Center trauma, would it have made any difference? And the short answer at this point is probably not. He was taken to Providence Seaside Hospital, which is the hospital here in Seaside, where they coded, which means work, in a very heartfelt manner for about 40 minutes, and then he was pronounced dead at the hospital. We requested life flight, but did not activate him because it was not necessary, nor would it have been productive. Mr. Ferry was transported by ambulance and police to another hospital, Columbia Memorial Hospital, which is in Astoria. Shortly before he got to the hospital, his vital signs started crashing. He was also worked on for about 20 or 30 minutes, but was pronounced dead by emergency room doctors at Columbia Memorial Hospital. Mr. Ferry is known to law enforcement in this community. The way police officer shootings work in Oregon in this county, particularly because of something called Senate Bill 111 protocols, is the major crime team, which in this county includes the Seaside Police Department, the Cannon Beach Police Department, the Warrenton Police Department, the Girard Police Department, the Astoria Police Department, the Clatsop County Sheriff's Office, the Medical Examiner's Office, which operates out of my office, the DA's office, all collaborate. But in order for there to be no question about the fairness of the shooting investigation, the agency that's involved in the shooting does not directly participate or does not run it. That's why one of the reasons you see so many state police officers. We're also very grateful for their expertise. We've had state police here all night. Lieutenant Boyd, who's the PIO specialist, is here. Detectives, crime lab, reconstruction. At this point, it appears, from what I can tell, that the shooting of Mr. Ferry was justified. In this county, we do not conduct grand juries of police officers who shot unless we have reason to believe that they may have committed a crime. Now, there's going to be a lot more investigation done, and that report will eventually be turned over to my office to review, but I realize this is a little different than it's done in some other jurisdictions, particularly in the metro area. Sergeant Gooding is survived by his wife and 2 school-aged children. He graduated from Sherwood High School. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Psychology at Portland State. He was hired in 2003 by the Seaside Police Department. He's done a lot of different jobs. He ran the drug team. He was a detective sergeant most recently, and most recently he was a patrol sergeant, and he really genuinely was one of the most respected and loved guys. He was 39 years old. This is, I think, a very recent picture of Sergeant Gooding. Chief Ham has a couple statements he would like to make, and then we may take some questions. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Although I could speak at great length about my friend, I've chosen to just write a couple of notes prepared so we can hopefully get through this. To the family of Sergeant Jason Gooding, I want to convey our warmest condolences on behalf of the city of Seaside and the Seaside Police Department. Jason was a respected officer in this community, and he demonstrated the best in what we do as law enforcement officers. I also encourage everyone to keep the other Seaside officer who survived this traumatic event and who was with Sergeant Gooding in their thoughts. From the entire Seaside Police Department, we are thankful for the tremendous outpour of support, love, and dedication from all of our law enforcement partners. In this time of need, we are requesting you to respect the privacy of Jason's family and friends.
There is one thing I omitted. There is a fourth individual that we are looking for that was present at the scene. We do not believe that this individual was involved in the incident that led up to the shooting of the shooting. But we are asking that person or anybody who can conclusively identify, and we think we know who he is, to contact the following number, 1-800-452-7888. For media, further calls probably should go through the state requests, should go through the state police media. That's 541-419-8843. And with that, I'll try to answer any questions media have.
Sure, so that fourth person was a witness, is that?
Yeah, well, if that person was present, we believe his status to be that of a witness as opposed to a suspect.
You said the suspect was tasered. Did it lock onto him? Was that a successful taser? And
I'm not sure how successful it was.
Yeah.
There was evidence that at least one of the, it's not foolproof. The idea is to basically slow people down.
did it have any effect?
It had some effect, yeah. There are body cams on at least 2 or more of the officers that were involved and that are being viewed by the investigators. I haven't personally looked at any of this, but a lot of this information will be able to be verified that way.
You said the suspect, Mr. Ferry, was known to police. Had he had any prior interaction with Sergeant Gooding at all?
I'm kind of surprised if he hadn't. I'm familiar with Mr. Ferry. He was 55 years old and a number of contacts. I don't know anything specifically.
What is his condition? The suspect's condition?
I'm sorry, I thought I made it clear he's dead.
Oh, no, the suspect. Oh.
Mr. Ferry died at 10:40 last night at Columbia Memorial Hospital. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear about that.
And just to be sure, the second officer was not.
The second officer was not physically injured.
Would any of those others who know Sergeant Gooding be willing to share any thoughts or remarks about him or professional?
Some of the officers behind me are local. Sergeant Bergen's known him for a very long time. I'll defer to them, but any other questions?
Along with the fourth person, was there any other eyewitnesses to the?
Well, we're not entirely sure. This happened at about 9:20 on a Friday night in downtown Seaside. Now, evidently it was raining, but there may be, and that's why if anybody thinks they heard anything or saw anything, we ask them to contact that phone number. More information is always better. Any other questions other than that?
How did this go down exactly? I mean, how did it begin? How did they come in contact in the first place?
The officers are doing their job. They're patrolling downtown Seaside. They see this guy that they know has a significant warrant out for him. They approach him, which is their job. Try to, with the least amount of violence or interaction, take him into custody. He resists, produces a gun, and shoots and kills Sergeant Gooding.
Any more information on that firearm type and?
We haven't, but that's not the information we're prepared to work. Most of these officers, not including me, have been working all night without any sleep. So the weapons are secured. There are some vigorous protocols about how these things are kept, from the bodies to the weapons to everything that might be evidence. It's all treated as evidence, even though it doesn't appear that there's anybody to quote prosecute per se.
I see.
Sorry, go ahead.
I assume based on his record, Mr. Ferry should not have been in possession of a firearm.
You know, I don't know if he was a convicted felon, but if he was, he certainly shouldn't have been in possession of a firearm. But I actually hadn't reviewed his record that carefully. I just wanted to verify what he was wanted for, because sometimes, and it's a legitimate question, is like, oh, well, if this was sort of, you know, jaywalking or shoplifting, why could this, but it wasn't for jaywalking or shoplifting, it was for a felony assault, no bail warrant. The officers were doing, Sergeant Gooding and the other officer were doing what they should do to protect the citizens of Seaside and the visitors.
Does this happen right on Broadway?
It happened right in front of the Pig and Pancake.
How many people?
There were people inside the restaurant when it happened?
I'm not sure, I don't know if was it open then?
Closed.
It was closed then. I think they closed about 9.
Earlier, the press release said there's no remaining threat to the public, is that?
No, we don't have any reason to believe that there's anybody wandering around with a weapon or making threats against people or anything like that, which is a legitimate, certainly concern for both residents and visitors to Seaside.
What would the next steps in the investigation be?
There are a lot of them. We're looking to interview this 4th person. There will be autopsies conducted by the state medical examiner's office, both of Sergeant Gooding and of Mr. Ferry, for a variety of reasons. There are certain tests that will be done. The body videos will be examined much more carefully. So there's days of work yet to be done.
When was the last time, if at all, a Seaside officer was killed in the line of duty?
I don't know if a Seaside officer in the last 50 years has been shot in the line of duty. I've been the DA for 22 years in this county, and we have not had an officer shot in that time. My recollection, and it predates my coming here, was that in either 1980 or 81, a state police sergeant named Jim Shepard was shot and killed when he encountered a marijuana grow operation in the area of Napa. I only know that because I attended the guy's parole hearing a couple of years ago to try to actually keep him in jail the rest of his life. But I believe it's been over 34, 35 years since an officer has been killed in the line of duty in Clemson County.
You mentioned the body cameras. Did the officers, were they equipped with these cameras and were they utilized?
I believe so, yes. Seaside's been using body cameras for a while, maybe longer than some of the other agencies. We find them to be very useful. Any other questions? I know you might like something more personal from the sheriff or something. But I'll deal.
Clatsop County Sheriff Tom Burry. Jason was familiar with this individual, as we all are. This man has been in and out of our jail numerous times. He had a vast record, and as recently as a couple of months ago was the investigation with us and ATF on some other issues outside of town. Jason was a good man. He was an extraordinarily good police officer. He's my neighbor. He's got 2 beautiful little daughters. He's going to be sorely missed. He is the kind of guy that everybody would have wanted to be their neighbor, their friend, and their coworker. And he's going to be truly missed. And this community, I know, will pull together and do everything we can for him and the family. So it's all we've really got from this point of view from the sheriff's office. I know that we are patrolling a lot of the areas to help assist with Seaside Police Department, and we'll continue to work through this process, and we'll all heal together.